how much of that stuff was like real life sort of Hollywood versus just, I know it was a little top of it, but how much was real, like in terms of like Ari Gold character, like that?
I think a lot of it starts based on one thing and then becomes another. Like, I think in the beginning, because people, like Adrian Grenier, is like, hey, it's like Mark Wahlberg, but obviously Adrian Grenier is a different type than Mark Wahlberg. Right. Mark Wahlberg's like, Mark Wahlberg and his friends used to walk into the bar and beat everybody up.
Dude, that guy's a fucking businessman.
Oh, he's
smart as shit.
Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg is a genius.
We spoke at the same event.
Yes, he's a genius.
We spoke at that event together, and he's fucking smart as shit.
I also, too, love about Mark. He's like so confident. Like, Mark doesn't get dressed up, right? So it's like, we'll all be somewhere at an event, like all buttoned up in our suits and ties, and like Wahlberg like walks in his t-shirt and jeans and his hat on. I'm like, Mark Wahlberg, only guy who comes in to do his guest stars, and he's like, no, I don't need makeup. Let's just go. Let's roll. It's funny. Mark's the best.
Yeah, he's it's amazing. So
they take on a life of its own. I think it starts with something, and then it just kind of evolves. And when you say about and maybe cliche is not the right word, but what happens is anytime we ever tried to stray off the path, people hated it, right? So it's like, oh, these guys, everything is so great for these guys all the time. They never have any problems, right? So in season 7, Vince catches the drug problem, and there's the Sasha Grey thing, which is like loosely based on a couple of guys. And then everybody went nuts about that. My life is hard enough. I don't need to be depressed on Sunday night. I need that show to. So it's like, you really couldn't, you never make everybody happy,
So I remember that, like when I saw that scene, I'm like, damn, that's very Wolf-like thing with the big giant bag of Coke and the
right. I believe that might have been the day you were on set when Sasha Grey was around. I don't want to pin you to anything, but I'm pretty sure that's what that was. It actually was the season, but I was counting.
And so when you first started, did you guys get along as a crew? Was there any dissension there?
No, I mean we always got along, and it's funny too because people talk about chemistry. We never knew each other before the show. Chemistry develops. Right. And that's part of catching the lightning in a bottle. That's part of what happened. It was just like we all kind of became this thing. And that was real. And I've been on shows and I've seen people try to fake it. But for us, it was always real. And to take it even a step further, Jeremy Piven is, he's a complex cat. World-class actor. I mean,
great actor.
I mean, listen,
tough guy, right? And
three Emmys in a row. I mean, I think Don Rickles and Jeremy Piven, literally probably the only two to ever do it. Something crazy like that. So Piven's a world-class actor, but he really never ever really wanted anything to do with us, and it kind of worked.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting because it came across like you and him were just. I mean, on screen.
We always got along, but like for example, like before an award show, like the Emmys, like none of us were like super kind of like carpet glory hounds. Nobody ever wanted to. So the four of us would meet at a bar, like, and have a drink. Right. And then we'd walk the red carpet together to kind of carry each other through it, And Jeremy was all like on his own. And it's like, wow, it really was sort of like the show in the sense of it was us and it was him. But it was fine. He's a complex cat, but he's also a serious actor. So it's like that's a whole nother episode.
The weird thing though, is that you're kind of like E in some way, though. I view you like I know you as individual outside. Right. You're a businessman.
Right.
Like you're actually no.
Right.
Like, how much of it is like, did it become? It's almost like I feel like in some way you became the character. It's weird. Like
I think it was more the other way. Like I think when Doug was casting the show, and he'll tell you this, Doug and I, ironically, because Doug and I are both big New York Islander fans. Right. we're both from Long Island, and people kept saying to Doug, dude, we got your guy. This is your guy. This is Connolly. Connolly is this guy. And Doug was like, So I think Doug was hearing that I was that guy already, So I don't think that I became the character. I think I sort of was that, and then that happened. But I mean, I don't know. I like to think I'm a little harder around the edge, a little tougher around the edges than.
He was pretty fucking.
He's feisty.
Yeah, he was pretty feisty.
He was pretty feisty.
Yeah, he's no nonsense. And what up? And so now. So every TV season has its run, right. So when it ended for you, like did you probably knew what, a year in advance or tell how long?
Yeah, we knew a year in advance. And listen, I mean, look, we did 8 seasons and a movie over the course of 10 years. Right. I mean,
which is unbelievable. Yeah,
like what else could you want out of something? I mean, like that is an upper deck moonshot at Yankee Stadium. Like it doesn't get any bigger. And at a certain point. all right, and if it would have went on for another year, it would have just been another year. I mean, like eventually it ends, you know? So I always knew that. For me, it was just different opportunities, and you always develop different interests, right? And it's like, that's the other thing too. I've been acting my entire life. I just have developed other interests as I've gotten a little bit older. And,
like what? What?
Well, I mean, like even like I've heard you say, you know, I notice like people come up to you and they want quick sound bites, right? Like, hey, how can I succeed, right? And I've heard you say more than one occasion, be your own boss,
right?
And that's kind of how I've always sort of felt. Like I always wanted to kind of start and just do my own thing from scratch, from top to bottom. And I want to be my own boss because unfortunately, you know, actors, it may appear that actors, and they do get treated great. And then there's like the Leos and the Brads of the world. But like a lot of times actors, for the most part, myself included, are on the bottom of the food chain. I mean, you get paid, but you don't have any ownership. There's no...
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I just want a bigger piece of the fucking
It's a little bit of
pie.
Feast of famine with an actor, right? In the
Totally.
sense that, you know, it's like you have your run, and then it's always like you're almost as good as what's your last role.
Totally.
Right?
And also, too, like you can always bounce around. Do 8 episodes on this show and until you wait till your next Entourage, if ever. So you can always work as an actor, but like, I don't want to just work as an actor.
Right.
I want to be my own boss.
You know, to me, I mean, the industry has changed so much.
Dude.
It's over. It's like not even the same industry
crazy.
Anymore, right?
It's crazy.
Tell me, what's your perspective on the whole thing? I mean, you've seen it. You were in the middle of you were like, actually, Entourage was like in the middle of the whole thing. It started, it was one way, and it ended, and TV was a different thing, right?
It's crazy. It's changed so much that it's like, but also too, like it comes back around. And if you do it long enough, I can remember when the reality TV boom hit, right? So you got, let's call it, I don't know, The Bachelor. So it's a 2-hour show on Monday night, 2 hours on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Right? So now you got 4 hours of primetime programming, right? Figure that's at the half-hour shows, that's 8 TV shows, right? And at a minimum of 7 series regulars, that's 56 actors out of a job, out of a series regular job on one network on 2 nights. So you get those numbers, right? So that's all. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, man, how are we gonna? And also, too, understanding you don't have to deal with any bullshit. It's cheap,
right?
And the ratings are through the roof, and they're selling advertising, right? Which is what it is. So that was a scare for me. I was like, man, what? How the fuck is this gonna? How are we gonna survive this as actors? And then Netflix comes along, right? And then Amazon comes along, and it's like, boom, now it's like blowing up. Now it's the Wild West again. And to me, this is the most exciting it's been, only because it's just one way for so long. And now,
also the quality is like, I think TV is almost better than movies these days,
it's certainly a better gig because you have more of the control, right? The creative control. Like if you look at, you know, a studio like Warner Brothers, and I don't know exactly what these numbers are, but you know, they used to release whatever 40 big movies, and now it's 12, or 10. You know, that's a big deal. So it's almost like TV is the new independent film. You can go to a writer, director, actor and go, look, what do you want to do?
What would be your dream role for you? Like if you had to do, like, what's your, like, not your last...
Well, here's the thing. Well, it's a different thing. It's a dream role, like the dream gig right now.
At this point now, and you're looking...
I would love to do, like,